Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Winnipeg Jets franchise mode here in NHL 24. So in last episode we had the trade deadline. We brought in a few good pieces to help our team in terms of making us more suited for the playoffs. We brought in some a good defender and a good forward, trying to kind of balance our approach of our team going forward. And we're going to be taking on the Chicago Blackhawks in the first round of the playoffs, which is really interesting that Chicago made it in year one, but you guys will see why in a little bit if you didn't catch the end of last episode. But basically, this is our roster going into the playoffs at the moment. As you can see, our roster is pretty much the exact same it was at the beginning of the year, but Gabe Vilardi wasn't really doing that well for us on that top line, so we did decide to bring in Alexander Barabanov to help with the offensive depth scoring a little bit. And then we also brought in defenseman Matt Waugh from the LA Kings, and he's been decent so far. He hasn't necessarily been the best, but he's been very physical. He picked up 9 points with us as well, so hoping for some good shutdown and good offense from him if possible. But our defensive core looking pretty strong. Our goaltending obviously is strong still with Connor Hellebuyck between the pipes and Laurent Brossoit, who was great in the regular season. And I think our forward core is pretty strong as well, especially our first three lines. And then we have a decent fourth line. But obviously we could shuffle players throughout the lineup quite a bit because of the fact like guys like Barabanov and Niederreiter, they can play right and left. And you have guys like Iafallo, who's also able to play center. So we could kind of rework our lineup quite a bit if we fall into a bad spot. But very excited to go up against Chicago. It's going to be very weird for me because the last Chicago playoff run I had in my NHL 23 series, I lost to the Winnipeg Jets. So is this going to be the result where we end up losing to Chicago, or are we going to actually do what I did to end my Chicago series? But let me show you guys what Chicago is running just in case you forgot. We'll also take a look at how they did during the regular season compared to us because I didn't do that in last episode. But this is what Chicago is running. Taylor Hall, Connor Bedard, and they brought in Patrick Kane again, which is hilarious. So yeah, Connor Bedard and Patrick Kane tore it up. I don't know how Taylor Hall did actually this year. 74 points. It's pretty good. So that top line we definitely need to shut down. The rest of these lines not very scared of, but they do have still very good depth in a sense because nobody's blowing 80 on that forward core. But when you have like Corey Perry and Josh Bailey on your second line, this isn't 2009 anymore or 2010. This is friggin' 2024, so these guys are definitely a little bit more washed up. But they did bring in like say Sean Monahan, which is not bad. But still, they definitely have a lot of work to do in terms of their depth, I think. And then their defensive core is also kind of the same boat because you got Korchinski and Jones, so great top pairing. After that, it kind of falls off a bit, but it's still not the weakest defensive core I've ever seen. And then goaltending, obviously, is still probably the biggest question mark for them with Mrazek and Soderblom. So yeah, that's basically the Chicago team. Let's take a look at what they did during the regular season because I don't know how their goals for per game was. I would assume based on the top line, probably most of the offense came from that top line. But who knows actually what the tale will tell. Was their goaltending good too? Because I honestly have no idea. Let's actually just go to our division because we're actually in the same division, so that will help. So they were 5 points up on us. They scored only 8 more goals per game than us, so that's a decent chunk more. Not too much more though. They were much worse defensively, so that's definitely where we can maybe catch them, is the fact we have a better defensive core and a better goaltending, while they were basically just a team that kind of outscored their problems. Their power play wasn't good though, which is interesting considering they have Bedard and Kane. And their penalty kill was also very bad. So their special teams aren't great. Their goals against isn't great. Their offense in regular strength is the reason why they win games. So if we could shut them down in terms of the regular strength, and if we could get some goals on our own wise, we should be able to beat them with no problems, my guess, even though they did finish above us in the standings. So anyways, let's get into this first game matchup. It seems weird already going into a playoff scenario because normally at this point I'm going into my first draft because I always usually do rebuilders, not teams that are contending. But like I said in the last few episodes, we're basically going to try and go for a cup here early on, and then afterwards we're going to go back into maybe more of a rebuild, retool situation. So here we go, game number 1 at the United Center in Chicago. Can we get off to a good start, and can we play great defensive hockey like we did during the regular season? First period of game 1. And it's 2-1 for us, so that's good that we got the first 2 goals of the game. Nino Niederreiter scoring first is not who I had in mind, but oh well. And Kyle Connerton scores almost a minute later, or less than a minute later. Taylor Hall gets them on the board a little bit late in the game, which is not great. So hopefully that doesn't mean that they're going to start coming back in the second. Shots are 13-8 in favor of the Blackhawks, so a good first period from Connor Hellebuyck. We definitely need that if we want to be a good team this playoff run. Second period, 3-1. That's good to get some insurance from Dylan DeMello. Glad I kept on to him instead of Nate Schmidt. Yeah, that's great. We're getting goals from guys that I wasn't really expecting, except for Kyle Connor, obviously. But I wasn't expecting a goal from Niederreiter and DeMello here in Game 1. But I will definitely take it. Shots are 23-16 in favor of Chicago. But Connor Hellebuyck has been the difference maker right now, looks like. Let's see if we could lock this game down here in the third as Matt Waugh scores, or Matt Roy, I think his name is actually. I've been calling him Waugh, but I think it's Roy. Connor Bedard gets the Blackhawks on the board at 4-2. Taylor Radish scores. Oh no, boys. Hellebuyck is starting to let in a few goals. That's not great. We are up 4-1, and now it's a 4-3 game. Big goal there from another former King, that being Iafallo. I forgot how much extra, like old school, well, not old school, what am I trying to say? How much former Kings we have on our team. I don't know why I said old school. But how much former Kings we have on our rosters. Morgan Barron also got one late as we win Game 1 6-3. So pretty convincing win. A little bit of a scare there with those 2 power play goals against. But at least we managed to weather the storm a bit. Shots were 36-32 at the end of it for the Blackhawks. But we do win by 3 goals. So good offensive game. Connor Hellebuyck had a great start to the game, but kind of fell off a bit in the third period. So hopefully he can kind of rebound from that in Game 2. But Niederreiter from Morrissey, Connor from Scheifele, DeMello from Pionk and Connor, Waugh from Morrissey, or Roy from Morrissey. I don't know if it's Roy or Waugh. I think it's Roy, though. Alex Iafallo from Morrissey and Velarde, and then Barron from Barabanov. So I think Morrissey had 3 points in that first game, right? Yeah, Morrissey had 3 assists in that game, so I'm glad he's back from injury because he did get injured near the end of the season and missed like a good chunk of time. So having him in our lineup is definitely very important to get us to like the second round and beyond. Taylor Hall, the second star, and Kyle Connor, the third star. So pretty solid first game. Apparently Barabanov lost morale because of his performance in that game. Same with Logan Stanley. So I guess they didn't just pick up any points or something. But hopefully Barabanov could get going in Game 2. That's why we brought him in, for that extra scoring. So hopefully he can do good for us here in the postseason. I guess we'll keep the team the exact same because that was a pretty solid first game. Good defense in the first 2 periods. Kind of fell off a little bit in the third. Like there was a little bit of a hiccup. But the offense was great throughout all 3 periods. So let's see if we could take a 2-0 series lead here. We're still in Chicago, so it'd be nice to get another win on the road and set us up for some good stuff, potentially back in Winnipeg. First period of game number 2. And it's 1-1. I'll take it. Neil Pionk scores on the power play. So we're getting goals from a lot of different players on this team, which is great. Because we don't want, obviously, the same guy always scoring, because then it shows we have a little bit of a depth problem. But right now, it seems to be doing pretty well. Actually, I just realized my head is above in a bad spot, though, when it comes to sim engines in this in playoff modes. I might have to set up another scene for OBS, probably for next episode, if you guys think it would be better, and moving my head over to the empty space closer to where below all the goals are. I think that might be a good idea, just so that way I'm not hovering, right above like where the shots and stuff are. Because you guys can't even see how much shots Chicago has. So I think I'll probably make a new scene probably for the next episode and move my head into a different spot when we get to the playoffs. So that way I'm not blocking you guys' view on certain things. But anyways, 1-1 after 1. Shots are 12-6 in favor of us. Can we find a way to get that next goal? Second period. 2-1. Let's go. Mason Appleton. So once again, a good start for Connor Hellebuyck. He was basically doing the exact same thing last game where he had 2 very good periods. Hopefully he could have a better third than last game, obviously. But once again, we have the lead. Shots are 23-16 in favor of us. Let's see if we can get some insurance and lock down Game 2. And yes, we can. And it's Barabanov on the power play. That's why we brought him in. And Iafallo scores as well. We're getting goals from so many different players. I'm loving the start to the playoffs for sure. We just got to make sure we could do some good damage in on home ice as well. Hopefully we don't lose both home games because that would not be great. But so far we've done a pretty good job at shutting down the top line as Patrick Kane gets a goal. Scheifele gets a goal. He was nowhere so far. That's kind of weird. But he does get a goal there as we win 5-2. So another good convincing win. We now have 11 goals in our first 2 games of this postseason. So Pionk from Morrissey, Appleton from Gustafson and Barron, Barabanov from Connor, Iafallo from Morrissey and Lowry, and Scheifele from Connor and Heinola. Yeah, I'm liking the amount of depth scoring we're getting. Barabanov gets first star of the game, so he gets his first goal with us in the postseason. And Morrissey picks up another 2 apples to get second star, Josh Bailey to third. So Morrissey up to 5 points in 2 games. And Neil Pionk has apparently lost morale because of being injured, and he's out till May the 1st. That's a big blow. Let me just go replace player for a second, but that's not good. That's a pretty big blow. When did it say he was back? May? Because I think he's out for the rest of the round, which is going to hurt our team in terms of the defensive play. Well, Pionk's more of an offensive defenseman, so our depth scoring might not be as good. That's not good. That's not good. So that's going to be getting, I guess, what's his name in the lineup? Sandberg, right? Which means we might have to rework our defensive core a little bit here. I guess Ville Heinola could go into the top 4. That's not a bad option. Yeah, we'll do something like that, because Heinola with DeMello actually is not a bad pairing, because Heinola is more offensively oriented in my opinion, and DeMello is a good shutdown D-man. And then we'll do something like Stanley and Sandberg, Morrissey and Wall, but our defensive core definitely takes a major hit without him in the lineup, which is not great. Hopefully Hellebuck could bail us out a little bit. And I think this team will stay the way it is for now. We don't really necessarily need to put Nemesnikov or Kupari in yet, since we're up 2-0 in the series. Yep, we're going to keep the team the exact same, pretty much, except for that injury change, obviously. Hopefully we can do good without Pionk, because if that injury comes back to bite us, that would not be great. Okay, well, wasting no time here. We're already on my birthday of 2024 already, so I guess I'd be turning 28 at this point, which is not great. Let's see if we could get a win on what would be my 28th birthday on a home ice. Come on, boys. Let's take a 3-0 series lead if possible. Do it for Pionk. First period. And 1-0 us. That's a good start. And Iafallo has his 3rd goal already in his first round. He's been great, and he's on our 3rd line, I think. A short-handed marker, too, with the shots being 12-7 in favor of Chicago. So a good start for Hellebuck again. Hopefully our offense can get some insurance, because a 1-goal lead is never too safe. Second period. 2-0. There we go. There's some insurance, and it's Iafallo again. Jeez. What is with Alex Iafallo? He is on another planet right now compared to the rest of the team. Like, we've had great depth scoring, but Iafallo is now up to like 4 or 5 goals in round 1, which is not really what I was expecting from him. But we're up 2-0 going into the third with the shots 23 apiece. Let's see if we can lock this game down in the third and maybe get some more insurance. As we get a power play early, we do not score on it. Penalty kill, nicely done. Power play for us now. And then we score. Josh Morrissey gets his first goal of the playoffs and continues his point streak to 3 games. Let's go. Yeah, we're having a good start to this playoffs for sure. Final few minutes here in Game 3. And Connor Hellebuck is going to pick up his first shutout of the postseason as we win 3-0. And we are 1 win away from round number 2, which is great. Final shots were 37-28 at the end of it, so we completely completely outplayed them, but not by much on the goal scoring department, but in the shot department. Iafallo from Scheifele and Morrissey, Iafallo from Velarde, so the former Kings picking up some points, and then Morrissey from Scheifele and Connor. Let's go. This is a great start. Hellebuck the first start, Iafallo the second start, and Scheifele the third start. He had 6 hits in that game, so Scheifele might not be picking up a lot of points, but he is also helping out with the physical load, it looks like, a little bit. And Game Velarde has been injured with an MCL sprain. Are you kidding me? He's out till May the 25th. Let me go replace player, but that is another big injury. So Velarde will be missing all the way up until, like, potentially like the conference finals, maybe even the Stanley Cup finals if we get there. That's not great. That's a pretty big blow. He hasn't been necessarily the best player for us in this playoff run, but still, that's a big loss to have, as we've now suffered back-to-back injuries in back-to-back games. Oh my god. I think I'm okay with putting Kupari in the lineup because he was actually pretty good for us as a depth option. We'll keep him as a third liner as well. Why not? I'll put him with like the good player Iafallo. So yeah, I think the rest of this will still stay the same, but man, why 2 straight injuries? Pionk should be back momentarily, which is nice, and yeah, Nemesnikov might get put in if we have another injury, which honestly could happen at this rate that we're going at. yeah, I think we're good to just keep this team the same. I've been liking the effort from the boys, but it has sucked that we've had 2 injuries in a row despite winning 2 straight games. Oh no. Oh man, I didn't want to go like that. Oh man. Well, we won the first round. I had to advance the day because I didn't realize I was actually on the game day, and we win 4-2 in that final game. I didn't mean to do a calendar sim there. Oops. I'm like half asleep apparently or something, but I meant to actually go into that game, but I thought I was on the 26th, so I pressed advance a day, not realizing we were actually on the game day. Well, we swept the Chicago Blackhawks, so congrats, guys. We're on to round 2. Let's go. Damn, that's kind of anticlimactic. I hate when I accidentally do that type of thing. Oh, well. We sweep Chicago. We're on to round 2, which is great. Let's take a look at our player stats after the first round. We'll also take a look at what we're going up against in round number 2. But that was a very solid first round effort. Let's take a look and see what everybody did on this team. So, Scheifele, 5 points in 4 games. Pretty solid numbers from him. Lowry was almost point per game as well. He has not scored yet, but he has been great. Gustafsson, 2 points. Not bad for a 4th liner. He must have picked up some points on that Game 4 because I don't remember him scoring before that. Or maybe he did score before that. I don't know. Velarde, 2 points in 3 games before his injury. It sucks that he's out, kind of. Perfetti, only 1 goal, so he's definitely been one of the more quiet players. But at least his 1 goal was a game-winning goal, so not really too scared of that. Hopefully he can get going in the second round a little bit, though. Appleton picked up a goal, which is fine considering he's not getting a lot of ice time. And Kupari had nothing in his only game, but he did have 2 shots on goal. Left wing wise, Iafallo was cracked in that first round. 5 goals in 4 games on 9 shots, shooting 55.6%. Jeez, man. Yeah, Iafallo, if he could continue that in round 2, this guy is a monster. He's signed for 1 more year still, and he's making $4 million bucks, which is a lot. But I am liking his playoff performance quite a bit so far. Kyle Connor, only 1 goal, but 5 points. Hopefully Connor could score some more goals next round. Morgan Barron, 2 points, pretty solid. And Ehlers only 1 goal as well. So hopefully guys like Connor, Ehlers, and Scheifele could get a little bit more goal scoring. They are picking up points, but we definitely need our goal scoring to be a little bit better with those guys. Same with Barabanov, only 2 points, and in Niederreiter, only 1 goal. So I think our depth scoring was better than our top 6, to be honest. Like, Connor and Scheifele were good point per game wise, but Iafallo was great. Lowry was pretty solid on the forward department. Like, we had good depth scoring for the most part. But top 6 guys like Ehlers, Niederreiter, Barabanov really didn't do too much. I say we relied heavily on Iafallo to win us that series. Like, he was the only guy to score more than a goal in that first round on the forward core. So that's kind of nuts. Defensively, we got 8 points from Josh Morrissey in 4 games. He is amazing. Looking forward to seeing what he could do in round 2. Neil Pionk was pretty good in his 2 games, 2 points. Obviously, he should be back to start next round, my guess. Matt Roy had 2 points and was a +8. Wow. But he is playing with Morrissey, so that kind of makes sense. But yeah, Matt Roy was a great addition. Ville Heinola, 2 points, 4 games, and a +3. DeMello, 1 point, or 1 goal, I should say, and a +1. And then Sandberg had nothing in his 2 games. Stanley had nothing in his 4. Goaltending-wise, Connor Hellebuyck was cracked, and that's exactly what we kind of need from him. A .941 save percentage in that first round, and a 1.75 goals against average. So hopefully he could do well for us in round 2 as well, because he was probably the best player, and then obviously like Morrissey and Iafallo were probably the best players after that. So there is our player stats. Now the question is, who are we going to be playing in round 2? And we'll take a look at their lineup, also how they did during the regular season compared to us, and playoff-wise so far compared to us. And then that will be it for this episode, as Pionk is returned before round 2, which is great, because that will give us a little bit more of a boost for our defensive core. So we'll take Sandberg out, and we will get Neil Pionk back in. Perfect. Looks good. So hopefully Pionk can get some more offense going for our team in next round. Who are we going to be playing in round 2 is the question. It is going to be none other than, oh man, the Colorado Avalanche. That's going to be a very tough task. We already know they have Cale Makar, Nathan McKinnon, Mikko Rantanen. I think Gabriel Landeskog is still in this too. So, yeah, that's going to be a very tough task. I think they might have won the President's Trophy, so we might get knocked out easily in round 2 because of how good that team is. But they finished 55-22-5. They had 10 more wins on the season. That is crazy. 9-1 in their last 10 games going into the postseason as well. Wow. Let's take a brief look at the playoff tree as well. So you have now Edmonton versus Vegas in round 2, Rangers in Toronto, Ottawa in Florida. Interesting. Don't mind that at all. Let's take a look at, briefly before we take a look at their roster, let's just see what they did compared to us. So, yeah, they were the best team in the NHL. They won the President's Trophy. They scored 4.05 goals per game. Let me actually go to our division because we're in the same division still. So, yeah, they had 20 more points than us, but goals for per game wise, they were scoring way more goals than us. They were almost on par with us defensively. We were a little bit better defensively still. Power play wise, we're very close, 24.4 to 24.5. And penalty kill wise, they were much better. So they're pretty much like a very good special teams team, very good in everything in a way. And we were pretty solid at everything. So we got to find a way to shut down their top guys pretty much, and that might be able to give us a chance. But this is definitely going to be a very, very tough task here early on. Trying to beat a Colorado Avalanche team is always going to be tough. They won their first round in 5 games, scoring 2.4 goals per game, so their offense wasn't that great in the first round, but they only allowed 1.4 goals a game. So that's definitely where we need to be a little bit weary, as they might shut down our offense. And if they shut down our offense, they could definitely score. So 33.3% on the power play for them, so they were a little bit better than us. And their penalty kill was fantastic. Yikes. 3-0 on home ice. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Yeah, I'm kind of scared to see what this Avs team looks like, because obviously we know what they look like in real life right now, but did they add any pieces in this franchise mode yet? Did they add any pieces? Like Chicago added Patrick Kane. Did Colorado add anybody to this team? Doesn't look like it right now, actually. At least not that I'm seeing. So Landeskog, McKinnon, Rannon, crazy top line. Definitely need to find a way to shut that down. Nichushkin, Johansson, and Lehkonen. Really solid second line. Third line of Tatar, Colton, and Logan O'Connor. So pretty much the exact same Av roster. And then there's Chris Wagner, who I guess they brought in from Boston as like kind of more of a depth option. 16 points from him in 55 games, not bad. Jonathan Drouin's also there, and Andrew Cogliano. So very similar Avs team to what you would see this season in real life. Oh my god. This defensive core is insane. Devin Tays, Cale Makar obviously is the best pairing in the NHL, probably by a large margin. You also have Josh Manson, Sam Girard still. And then Bowen Byram, who I don't know why they made an 86 at this point in real life. I feel like he's definitely a little bit lower than that, but he is still a good defenseman, but he's not an 86. And Caleb Jones. So we're going up against another Jones brother, so I guess they brought in Caleb Jones. There he is. What about goalie-wise? Georgiev and Francois. So yeah, this is a very typical Avs team. And depth-wise, they have Jack Johnson, the legend, Brad Hunt, and Miles Wood is scratched. And I find it kind of funny that they're scratching Miles Wood on this contract. The fact that he's signed for 5 more years after this is kind of funny, just to be a depth option. But oh well, he's cashing out. So yeah, that Avs team is filthy. And that defense score is filthy. So we need to find a way to definitely get goal scoring going. Like last round, it was one guy pretty much in Iafallo. We need to find guys on our team to score more goals. And we need to find a way to shut down their top guys, or else we have no chance, I say, at beating them. So that is that. And I think that's going to do it, guys, for this episode of our Winnipeg Jets franchise mode. So next episode, we will take it to round number 2 against the President's Trophy winning Colorado Avalanche, as we look to pull off a huge upset and get ourselves to the conference finals. This will definitely be probably our toughest task all playoff run. So if we are able to get through this round, maybe we have a good shot at winning the Stanley Cup. But if we don't get through this, we're definitely going to be having a tough task for multiple years. Like if we run into the Avs at any point, we're definitely going to be doomed to lose, I feel like, in the postseason. So let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.